All right. In our math class, we're working on place value, and one of the things we're working on in class is building 1,000. And as we look at this group right here, I was talking with this group before they got started, and they gave me an idea of how they were going to do their poster. And when they talked to me, they were talking about how they were going to make groups of 10 and do 10 groups of 10 to make 100 squares, which I told them was a great plan. However, when I made it back to their group, this is sort of what they gave me. And what we talked about is that maybe next time when I do this next year is that before we get started, to have them build their plan on paper and possibly even drawing out a partial part, like a part of it, saying, okay, this is how I'm going to start. Here's a group of 10. I would need 9 more of these to make a group of 100. Then I would have to do 10 hundreds to make 1,000. And then if we go over to these other posters, you can see that as I talk to some of these groups, we can see how they're starting to progress, whereas with this poster, they were able to get the concept of building, they're able to start building their groups of 10 to make 100. But when we look at the one to the left, we can see that this group was able to make it's a little bit easier to see that within their groups that they have 100 squares. So while both of these groups have the right idea, the one on the left here was actually a little bit easier for the students to see 1,000. Now they still have to finish, but they're on the right track, and it does make it a little bit easier for our groups to see what 1,000 actually looks like.
And if you come, we'll start with one of these. I'll show you one where they had a plan. If I actually show you the other side, you can see their original plan was there was no plan. And so they had originally told me that they were each going to work on corners and just go until they got to a certain number. They didn't really have that good of a plan. So I decided to just let them go with it, and you see what it came up with. So I told them if they could come up with a plan, I'd let them flip it over and try again. And one person in the group was making groups of 10 and just going as far as they could. So we don't have a group of 100 or anything, but you can see our groups of 10. But in the group, you can see how communication and working together would really help them, because we kind of have a hodgepodge here. If we go over to this poster, this group worked really well together. They broke their paper up into 4 corners or 4 sections, and then each group had to make 10 rows. And in those 10 rows, they put 25 in each row, giving them 250 in each group. And I was really impressed because one of the students came up with that themselves, knowing that if he made 25, if it was 10 times bigger, it would be 250. So this group actually finished with their visual of 1,000. And then we also had some kids, we'll go up here to the corner. We had some kids who thought about, we've been working on base 10, so they actually, instead of, they knew making 1,000 would take a while, so they made a key and said that each corn kernel was worth 10, and this group, they started making groups of 50. And you can see their section groups of 50. I don't think they've finished yet. So they actually made it easier by using the base 10 to make theirs. And then we have other groups that did the same thing, that used a key as well. I guess I could turn it over for you. Used a key as well, and they were making groups of 10 as well. So you can see from all of the kids we've worked with this year, we have a wide range of understanding